Hi. Today we can learn collection API iterable interface classes. To reading the data of collection API classes, we have a for each loop. By using for loop also we can read the elements of the collection API classes. Now we can see what is the use of using the iterator and ListIterator and the enumeration. We have three classes in collection API. By using these three classes, we can read the data of the collection API classes. Now first we can see the iterator. Now let's go to the example. In program 1, I have a main method. Inside a main method, I am creating object to the list by using the other list class. So I just added the elements to the list class. All the elements are string types. I just added the all elements. We have seen this. We have inside a collection API, we have iterator function. By calling iterator method, we can get the iterator of string type, because the collection having the type of string, because we use a generic type of string, we are allowing only string items to the my list class. So whenever we are iterating the data, the iterator type also should be the string. So I'm getting the iterator by using the iterator. In iterator we have two methods, hash next and next method. Whenever we call hash next method, first it will go and give the index of 0th index. The index is available in the 0th place. So whenever we call next method, it will give the output of 0th index. When we call the next method, it will give output of 0. Like inside list we have 0 index is hello. Then whenever it will coming to the while loop, it will check iterator.hash next. It will give true or false. If the next index value is having the data, it will give the true. If there is no value in the next index, it will give the false. So next index is having the value high. It is the second value is high. So it will give the true. Then it will go and get the second index value. Similarly, it will read the all values from 0 to n minus 1. By using iterator, we can read the data one by one in the collection API classes. This is a basic use of iterator. Let's go to the ListIterator. ListIterator also subclass to iterable. This is also all this iterator and ListIterator also from the java.util package. How to get the ListIterator? By calling ListIterator method, we'll get the ListIterator object. Inside our list class, we can call ListIterator method to get the ListIterator object. After getting the ListIterator object, we can read the data similarly how we are reading the data in the iterator. But if we can read the data in backward direction also by using ListIterator. Reading the data in backward direction means if you want to read the data from last to first I have to get the XYZ, ABC, and high and hello. This is the backward direction from bottom to up. Forward direction is from top to bottom. Now here, by using iterator, we can read the data only from top to bottom in the forward direction. But by using ListIterator, we have two more methods provided in the ListIterator as previous and previous method. By using these two methods, we can read the data in the backward direction also. Now in this program, what we are saying, how to read the data of a collection API classes. We can read the data by using iterator, and by using ListIterator, we can read the data. Now, what is the difference between list iterator and iterator? This is a very important interview question. By using iterator, we can read the data in the forward direction. And by using the list iterator, we can read the data in forward direction and backward direction also. Now in iterator, we have hash next and next methods to read the data in forward direction. Inside list iterator, we have hash next and next method to read the data in forward direction, and we have hash previous and previous method to read the data in the backward direction. And the second next difference is, in case of iterator, we can read data of list set queue and map all the data type collection API data we can read by using iterator. By using list iterator, in the name itself we can see we can read data of list interface classes only. We cannot read the data of set and queue and map by using list iterator. Only we can read the data of list interface classes. These are the three differences in the iterator and list iterator. We can see some other differences also in the next programs. Now let's go to the next program. Inside program 2, we have a main method. Inside a main method, I created object to the set interface. Set of strings set equal to new hash set. Object is created for the set interface. Now I just added the elements, 4 elements to the set. So by using iterator, I'm just iterating the set object. Set.iterator, it will give the iterator object. Similarly, iterator.hash next and iterator.next. We can read the data using the iterator function. And here we have a list interface. I created object to the linked list. Object is created and adding the data to the my list object. So now here by using list iterator, I'm just getting list iterator object. Similarly, list iterator.hash next. Whenever I am calling list iterator.hash next, inside list iterator, we have option to find the which index we are running the, whenever we are running the loop, on which index we are presently getting the data. To find the index of the data, we can find by using the list iterator methods. We have two methods. One is previous index. Previous index will tell the previous index of the current data. Next index, it will tell the next index of the current data. And we are getting the data by using list iterator.next. So by using iterator, we cannot find the index of the data. But by using list iterator, we can find the index of the data whenever we are reading the data. By it means inside the iterator, we don't have index methods, previous index and next index methods. But in a list iterator, we have previous index and next index. That is the next difference. Let's go and run this. Now By using iterator, I am just reading all this data. I, ABC, XYZ, hello. Now by using list iterator, previous index is by default it is -1 and index is 0. 0th index value is hello. First index value is hi. Second index value is ABC, XYZ. We can't find the index of the data in case of iterator, but we can find the index of the data in case of list iterator. That is the next difference. We cannot find index of data by using iterator. We can find previous index, next index using the list iterator. That is the next difference, fourth difference. In the program 2, we are seeing the how we can able to get the index or not when we are reading the data. Let's go to the next program. Next difference of the iterator and list iterator. Now, inside of program 3, I have main method. I created object to the array list and adding the elements to the array list. By using iterator, I just created the iterator object. We have hash next method and next method. After iterating my data, again I am printing the data by using system.out.println of list. We can get all the data. Here, the next difference is whenever we are iterating the data, if we want to modify the data, like when we are iterating the data of list object, if you want to add some other value to the list object, or if you want to update the previous value in the list object, we can't do in case of the iterator. But in case of list iterator, whenever we are iterating the data, if you want to add the new value to the list iterator at any index, we can add. But if you want to update the value of the list object, you can update the value of the list object for the particular index in case of list iterator. Using iterator, we cannot modify or add the values to the list object. Using list iterator, whenever we are reading the data, we can add or we can modify the data of a list object. That is the next difference. Now let's go and run this. Now, inside in case of iterator, I am not adding or updating because it will give the runtime error. So whenever we are reading the data of using list iterator, I can add the value. Add method will add the value. Set method is just updating the value of a first index. Whenever the index is 1, we are just updating the value. Now let's go and run this. Using iterator, I just read the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And after that reading, we are just printing the value list. So reading the elements using list iterator, I just read the values. Whenever we are reading, I just updated the value and added the value. Updated value at the first index. So first index value is hello. And I added the value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In case of first index, after first index, I added the value. This is possible in case of list iterator. Now let's go and add the same thing in case of first index. If you want to update the value, we can't find the which index. If you want to find the index of the iterator, we can't find it because we don't have any methods. It's not showing. Now let's add the value. Iterator dot. We don't have add method. We don't have set method also. In case of iterator, we don't have option to add or update the values. But in case of list iterator, we have option to set and update the values of a list object or collection object. That is the next difference of iterator and list iterator. Now let's go to the next program. Now what is the difference between enumeration and iterator? Now in program 4, I have a main method. Inside a main method, I created object for the vector class. In vector class, I just added the elements, all the weeks of a day. We added the all 7 days of a week. Now, how to iterate the data of a vector? Vector is a legacy class. We can iterate the data of a vector by using enumeration or by using the iterator. We can use both ways and we can read the data. How to read the data by using enumeration? We have a elements method. By calling elements method, it will give the enumeration of a vector class. So I just created enumeration class object by calling elements method of a vector. So it will give the enumeration data type. This is the days. So inside enumeration data type, we have a method of hash more elements and next elements. We are just iterating a while loop, infinite while loop up to days hash more element. So it is just reading each one by one element up to the end. If the next element is not present for after the Saturday, next element is not present in the after the Saturday, it will give the false, then the loop will exit. So hash more elements and next element is used for reading the data of an enumeration object. This is the one. Now I just printed all the data after reading the elements of a vector class by calling system order println of days name. Now reading the elements using the iterator. Same vector class elements we can read by using iterator also. Days name is a vector object. Days name dot iterator will give the iterator object. We have a hash next method and next method to read the data of a iterator. Now by calling while iterator dot hash next, inside that I am calling the iterator dot next. It will give the string type because the data is a string type. All the data is string type, so I am using the string type, converting the object into the string type. Whatever next method is giving, this is object type. From object, if you want to downcast to string, we have to cast the data. So from object to string, I am converting by using casting. Then I am just calling system order println of s1. Now, in case of the enumerator, the main difference is whenever we are reading the data of enumeration, we cannot remove any data from the collection object. But if you using iterator, if you want to remove the data of a collection object, we can remove the data by calling remove method of iterator. That is the only difference between the enumeration and iterator. Now here we have a remove method in the iterator. By using a remove method, we can remove the data. So after removing the data, I am just printing the days vector. Whenever we call the vector, the whatever value we are removing, that value is removed, because if the value is equal to this one, I am just removing the data. So without the data, we will get the output here. Now let's go and run this. First, we'll get all the weeks of a days. After reading the data inside iterator, whenever we have the value is Sunday, so we are removing the data. After removing the data, the value is not present in our list. So using iterator, we can remove the collection object data when we are iterating. By using iterator, when we can remove the collection object element when we iterate. By using enumeration, we cannot remove the collection object element. This is the only difference between the iterator and enumeration. If they're asking the difference between enumeration and the list iterator, that is also same. By using list iterator, we can remove the collection object element when we are reading. But using enumeration, we cannot delete the data by calling remove method, because remove method is not there in the enumeration. Remove method is there present in the iterator and list iterator both. Now we have seen difference between iterator and list iterator, difference between enumeration and iterator. So how to read the data? We can read the data by using all these things. First one is iterator, list iterator, and third one is enumeration. Enumeration, we can read the data only for the legacy class, vector class. We cannot read the data by using enumeration in case of the array list and linked list and set classes. Only it will applicable for the vector class, this enumeration. That is also one difference. Now, what is the difference between reading the data using for each loop and using the iterator? There also, if we use for each loop, we can just read the data from 0 to n elements. But using iterator, we can read the data from 0 to n elements. But if we want to remove the data of any index, we can remove the data by using remove method of iterator. But we cannot remove the data by using for each loop. By using for each loop, we can't remove the data. But by using iterator, we can remove the data. That is also difference between for each loop and iterator. Now we have seen the three differences. Difference between iterator and list iterator, difference between enumeration and iterator, difference between for each loop and iterator. These are the three interview questions. Now let's go to the next one. Now we have seen map of managers. Managers are having some employees. Each and every manager is having some employees. That is one example. So I just created a manager class manager. This is example of HashMap. So I created a class manager which implements comparable. See, when it is implementing comparable interface, we have to override the compare to method. What the compare to method is doing is, inside compare to method, we have object of manager. So we're just comparing current class attribute value to the argumented manager class object attribute value. So we are just comparing id minus 0.id. So if you want to do any sorting for the manager class, we can do the sorting by using comparable or comparator. So we have to override that compare to method of comparable. If you use the comparable, I just override that. Inside manager, I have two attributes, int id, string name. I just initialize that attributes by using argumented constructor of manager. So whatever argumented values we have in the manager, id and name, those values I am assigning to the current class values. This dot id equal to id, this dot name equal to name. I just override toString method because see, we are just bothering about the data of the object. We are not bothering about the where object is stored in the memory. If you don't override the toString method, we'll get the class name at the hexadecimal representation. So I just comment it. When we run our code, it will give the class name at the hexadecimal, the memory address of the manager. Then I will just uncomment this and I will show you. Now in class my employee, see, each and every manager is having multiple employees. So I created employee class also. In employee class, I have three attributes: int id, string name, string of designation. I just initialize all attributes of an employee by using constructor of argumented. So here also I just forwarded twisting method because I am just bothering about the data, but I am not bothering about the memory address of the employee. So to show, by default, if you call the system.println of employee, it will give you the class name at that hexadecimal memory address. But if you override it properly, it will give the data because inside this overridden twisting method, I am just printing the data. First, I will commented it. After running our code, after seeing the memory address, how it is printing, then I will uncomment and I will call this again. Now inside a main class, program 5, I have a main method. Inside a main method, here in the real time, if you want to create a manager of employees, that is some example of real time. If you want to maintain for every manager, the list of employees, if you want to maintain, key value pair we want to maintain. So in that case, we have to use the HashMap map object. By using array list or set and queue, we can't achieve this because array list and set and queue not providing the key value pair. Only the map is providing the key value pair. Key is a manager. For the key manager 1 we have 10 employees. For manager 2 we have 3 employees. Manager 3, for example, 2 employees. Like that, if you want to maintain the manager of employees, we can maintain like this using HashMap. So I just created a manager map by using HashMap object. Created using HashMap class. So after creating that, now I am just feeding the data. I just created employee objects, employee 1, employee 2, employee 3, employee 5. All the employee objects having the ID and name and designation. So I created 5 employee objects. All the 5 employee objects I am putting into the list of employees. Created one list of array list object. List of employees list equal to new array list. Object is created in the memory and that is pointing with the reference of list. Now inside a list, I am just adding employee 1, employee 2 up to 5. All 5 employees I am adding to the list object. Now I have created one manager object. Manager M1 equal to new manager of. I give ID and a name to the manager. So after creating manager object, in manager map, for the first manager 1, we have 5 employees. Manager 1 is a key and list of employees is a value. So for under first manager, we have 5 employees. Data is loading to the manager map, first manager. Now let's go to the next. I created 5 employees, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is also, we have ID, name and designation. Now here I have created 2 lists. First one is list 2. This is having two data. List 2 dot add of E6 and E7. 2 employees added to the list. This is belong to the manager 2. And list 3 is belongs to the manager 3. Inside list 3, I added the 3 elements. Employee 8, employee 9, employee 10. For manager 2, we have object is created for the manager 2 and manager 3 by using name and ID. So I am just feeding the data into the HashMap. Map.put of key is a manager, values is a list of employees. In first list 2, we have 2 employees. In the list 3, we have 3 employees. Those are feeding to the manager 3. Now for manager 1, we have 5 employees. For manager 2, we have 2 employees. For manager 3, we have 3 employees in this example. We just get all the data. All the data we are storing with the HashMap. Now I'm just printing the data, system.print of manager map. Whenever we print this, we'll get the class name at that hexadecimal representation because see, if you see here, class name com.vk.iterator manager at that hexadecimal. And employee object also having the class name at that hexadecimal, memory address where the object is stored. But we are just bothering about the data. So we have to override the twisting method to get the data of a manager class and employee class. Now I just override the twisting method of manager and employee both. So if you, whenever we call and run this, we'll get here manager object. First manager is ID equal to 1000, name equal to some name, and employees, all the employees we got for first manager. Similarly, we have this is one more manager which is having the employee objects. Now let's go and see what is the next one. We are just getting the populating the data to the hash map and printing the data. This is the printing the data first line. Now without printing the data directly everything, if you want to read the data one by one, I want to read the data first manager, second manager, third manager. How to read the data? I just created object to the program 5 class and calling read map method. By whenever we calling read map method, I'm passing the manager map object. So let's go to the read map. Now inside a read map method, the argument is map of manager comma list employees. We'll get the map. Here what we are doing is by using iterator, we are just iterating the each and every element of a map object. Now here, how to read the data of a map. Inside a map, we have entry set. Whenever we call entry set, inside a map, each and every object is a entry object, map of entry. So it will get the, when we call the entry set, we'll get the set of entry objects. This is a set of entry objects. Set of map dot entry object. Entry object is having key is a manager, value is list employees. Now I got the entry set. After getting the set object, we have to call the iterator. This we have to remember properly. See, we cannot call iterator directly on the map object. First, we have to call the entry set and convert this to the set. For the set object, we can call the iterator. Entry set dot iterator. Now I got the iterator of entry object. Each and every element in the iterator is a entry object. So I got the iterator. Iterator dot hash next. Inside this loop, what I'm doing is first I'm printing map entry reading started. We have just started reading the map entry. Now iterator dot next method it will give you the entry object. Because inside our map, this is the object we are storing. Entry of manager comma list employee. Now I got the entry. So system.println of key of the element is entry dot key set. By calling get key method of entry, we'll get the key of the map. To read the value of the entry, we have get value method. See, learning a collection APIs, we have to understand how to use the collection API methods, how to use the collection API classes and methods. So by calling get key method of entry, we can get the key of the map. We can get the key of the map entry. By calling value get value method, we will get the value of a entry object. So I just printing the key of the element is entry dot get key. Entry is it is available in the map object, map dot entry. So whenever we calling get value method, value is a list of employee. So I'm just getting the list of employee of list. This list object I am just doing for each loop and iterating the values and reading the values. Value of key is this one. Each and every element I am printing. After that I am printing the map entry read it completed. See each and every map object, map entry I am reading by using the iterator. So this is reading the data by using iterator. Now after reading the data, we'll read the data one by one and we print the data. After reading the data, if we want to sort the data based on the manager object, we can sort it. Let's see that one later. Now let's go and run this. Now I just printing the data everything at a time. After that, by calling iterator, first we are getting the manager one. We get the ID equal to 1000, name equal to some name. After that, inside the manager one, I have 5 elements. All 5 elements I'm printing for all 5 employees. For manager one, we have 5 employees. We are printing one by one. Now map entry reading is completed. Again, map entry reading is started. This is a third manager because inside a map we are not maintaining the some order. ID is 1002, name equal to some manager name. Inside this manager we have 3 employees. We are just printing that. This is also completed. Now next manager. Inside next manager, ID is 1001 and we have 2 employees. We got the employees. Now this is the manager objects are not in sorting order because first we got the 1000, after we got the 1002 and we got the 1001. If we want to get in the sorting order, how to get in the sorting order? If we want to sort the map objects based on the key, how to sort it? See, we have TreeMap. By using TreeMap, if we create object to the map object, we can get it by using, by default it is in sorting order. To achieve that, the key, whatever key we are using, the key is a manager object. The key should be comparable type or comparator type. Now if we remove that, it will give the compile time error. But the manager is a comparable type which is comparing the data based on the ID of the manager. So based on the ID of the manager, we'll get in sorting order. First we'll get the 1000, after we get the 1001, after we'll get the 1002. That is output we'll get after reading that. Now I got the sorted map. Then I am calling again read map. Read map is the method to read the data and printing the data. This is a common to everything. If we not create any method, this code we have to print 2 times here. Here we have to write this code 1 time. Here we have to write code for the 2nd time. But this is a common method we can use anywhere. Now I send the sorted map. After sending the sorted map, what is the data? This is sorted map. First key, map entry read. First we got the 1000, first manager. Next we got the 1001, second manager. Next we got the 1002. Now it is sorted. So we have seen here how to use the iterator and how to use the HashMap and TreeMap. Yeah, this much we can see today. I think we can see in the tomorrow class. Now we have seen the all iterator, list iterator, and enumeration. How to read the data of a collection API classes. If you have any doubts, you can just ask or ping me. You can see in the tomorrow class.